Hey guys, it's Mark from Speed RC Hobby again. Couple of friends and customers were interested in a different way to modify the landing gear on the Yak 54 Pro so they could land on rough terrain or like unmowed areas. Really not sure how rough the terrain is, but we'll give it a shot. I'm going to try to do this with this camera by myself. Here's the version I've been using. It works fine once you could, you get used to this plane. But I guess on unmowed conditions or weeds and stuff, it's rough. The plane is a little heavy on landing. So same thing. To take out Chinese food box handle, just for the fact I don't have anything else. The other way, I bent it the same way as the other version to stick it in, to solder it in, but this time leave the hooks. So you solder this all in and the hooks will be sticking out. That is to act as a receiver for carbon fiber tubing. Like this. Okay, one of my landing gears is bent. It's really pretty tough. Okay, looks a little short. So that's how that would be. And here would be a wheel. Okay, then I got some EPP foam. It's like EPP foam. It was to package, looks like a wine bottle and some glasses. This foam is really dense, tight. Cut out a plug the size of this particular access hole here in the back of the fuselage, the size of a water bottle cap. Okay, like like a Poland spring cap or something like that. Cut it out. It's just about the depth of this X-Acto knife blade. Cut it all around. Brand new blade. Cut it nice. Then off from the side of it, I trimmed it out. Drilled a hole down the center with a very small bit because even though it's strong, it didn't really drill well. It like kind of collapsed. I have a nylon wing bolt of your choice. I was trying to just keep things light. That is a problem. I have a fiber washer from electrical, like insulation, 2 pieces of wiring, keep it separate, or plate. I just so happen to have this aluminum blind nut. Fits in there. I'm going to glue these two together, and looks like the fatter end I'm going to stick down in the foam, and I'm going to glue this in the foam so I could use this bolt. I'm sorry. Then this is a piece of plastic, whatever style, whatever you like. This was some other piece of plastic that was tough, rigid, not really rigid, flexible, but will not rip or tear. This is a little thinner. It's from gutter guards for your house. Figured it was good for temperature. I always fly out in the cold. It won't crack, and I can't rip it. Drilled 2 small holes. This is about an 1 3/4 across, and the holes are about maybe an inch and a half apart, centered from the end, and then a center hole to accept this bolt. So with that said, this will assemble like this. This bolt is a little too long. I'm just trying to mock this up for the video. So, okay, the bolt's all the way in now, and that's what it looks like. This would be in here. Okay, that would be all the way down, seated down, bolt in, and tightened up, and it's actually snug in there. It doesn't want to pull out. So once you snug that though, it will expand the foam a little bit. Okay, so now this piece of carbon fiber rod will extend towards that plate. The only easy way to do this was with a Z-bend made out of the same metal. The metal isn't that strong. I used these homemade Z-bend pliers with holes in them and a very wide spade just to help me out. Going to epoxy this end into the rod. That would be there. And the same goes for the other side. Just can't leave this particular part out. Carbon fiber or these fiberglass rods, they're not very strong at the ends because they're not like healed or sealed. So they will split. You need a bushing of some sort, whatever you want to use, maybe 3 different sizes of heat shrink tubing. I've seen it lashed with CA glue, but I have these white bushings come out of the old VHS tapes. There's like 2 in there. Before you throw them out, or at a garage sale, these bushings come out of there. I'm going to cut it and glue a piece on each end, all 4 corners, to stop this from spreading, or it'll just break out. So with that said, this would be on there. Okay. I don't think anything's going to fall off it. Let's see. So this is your system. This will stop everything from pushing back. I mean, this will flex. It'll push against this like a sway bar kind of. And this foam, the idea of the foam was, as a plug, is that this whole system will give back if you land pretty direct. I don't know if you could see it because I'm not looking. We'll push the whole foam back without attempting to split the hull. Isn't a boat, the fuselage. And another version was, because I just realized that carbon fiber is very expensive. I don't know, for like 2 tubes, it's like $8. So if you have any rod, fiberglass rod, which is very nice, it has it bows a little bit more, it made more give, less stress on your fuselage. The only thing is you need to use tubing this time, like K&S brass tubing. Measure out, I think that was 2 inches. 2 inches. Split that in half, let's say. Make your mark. And from about your mark down to where you're going to cut it, 2-inch mark, it's half, you will heat this up red to get rid of the temper in it. And don't really worry about focusing your torch up where you're going to use it as a sleeve, just from where you have marked it down to where you're going to cut it off. Get it red, let it cool, cut it off. Then you give it a little crimp, not too much to really kink it, but now it's soft because you took the temper out. And you start this bending process, it's actually pretty easy because it's soft now. And it's so soft that with these flat pliers, whatever, I was working on crimping it, making a groove so it'll kind of fit for when you solder it to your landing gear. And I did need a little help of these side cutters just to crimp the edges a little to show which way I wanted to bend. And then this would solder on like this. And then, say this was your tube, would go in this receiver. Okay? And the same theory in the end. Now this doesn't have a hole because it's a rod now for the Z-bend. You could use an electrical connector. Find these anywhere, auto stores or house stores. Take off the sheathing. This one's a little large. Slip that over. I mean, I really like aluminum ones, so they're lightweight. Yeah, that doesn't fit either. They're all different wire gauge sizes. Alright, let's stay with this one. Okay, and glue that on, and this would attach here with a, oh I'm sorry, not to where the Z-bends were. You don't need this piece. You could exclude this plastic piece and just go right to the center of the bolt with this. One and then one off from the next angle. And you're done with that. So it's a whole nother set way of doing it. Very flexible, nice. That's it, because we're finding out that the plane's a little heavy, and I really didn't want to add any weight. I tried to make everything carbon fiber instead of using metal rod, or, you know, I even drilled out these wheels to weigh. Nothing on a gram scale. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to test this just so I could tell you guys how it worked out. Like I said, I don't really need it, but I'm sure for heavier grass and stuff, and if you're not very good at throttling right before you land and stuff, this will really help. It's light, and when it's all said and done and that plug is in and bolted, if you want these off for some apparent reason, you know, at the field, you could just take it off and leave that in there, or loosen the screw and take the plug right out. Let's say, you know, loosen this screw up, and plug will come right out, and we'll still give you access. There's a wing nylon nut glued in there. That broke loose on me once when I cracked my wing and everything in half. So you do need access to that inside this yak. Okay guys, until the company comes up with something better, this is what we're stuck with. Other than that, it flies pretty good, and this landing gear should really help out on rough surfaces, tall grass and stuff. But all in all, we all know that the landing gear is the weakest, one of the weakest parts in this. I've seen many wooden planes, built up wood, ARFs, guys coming down just a little bit, I mean very little, you know, on one wheel too much or the other, and they're mounting